Hey, how you doing? How you feeling? How's your day been? I'm Takara. This is my husband Kylan, and we are here with our fourth episode of Mutual Intentional Love. Mutual Intentional Love is something that we have for each other, and it's also something that you have to have for yourself. And that's what we want to talk about today is self-care and loving on yourself, being intentional about that, and to be totally honest, as we always are, um, I'm not quite sure where the episode's even, how it's gonna flow. Because for me, self care, it's not really something I do as much as I probably should. Because I do feel like it is important for everybody to do that for themselves.
Yeah.
Then I married this man who is amazing and spoils me. So, what do I need self care for when he's taking such amazing care of me?
My goodness.
But it is important. And it leads us also to the question, what do you feel? And I really hope that people will start engaging more in the comments, like really sharing your thoughts. Like, how have you felt about the episodes that you have seen so far? And when we ask questions, like, what is your answer? And I'm wondering now, like, what is it that you feel, as far as like if you need to be like totally healed before entering a relationship, or can that person help you heal?
Yeah. Yeah.
What would be your answer?
I feel like it definitely varies from situation to situation and depending on what manner of healing needs to be done because there are some types of healing that it's definitely a lifelong thing, but it also leans into the severity of what you're healing from. Like,
Mm.
because we're all consistently working to be our best selves, improve who we are on every level. So we're consistently working on that. So it shouldn't be that if there is something you do need healing from, it shouldn't be completely debilitating to the point where you can't really live your own life and move into a relationship that could be healthy for you and could help facilitate that healing and kind of exacerbate the process and aid with that because I know like it's necessary, to have peace, to be each other's peace and have peace within yourself. And that's definitely easier said than done for sure, but it's essential to have sustainability for a relationship,
Yeah.
for it to be completely healthy in every aspect.
Well, I definitely feel like we found each other at a moment where we had finally found peace and healing within ourselves.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
we're on our own,
Mm-hmm.
and I see this often, like, because I'm always in, random lives, or I mean, mainly that's really it. Like, I'm usually in somebody's live, and most recently, um, the girl was asking. Well, she said that she was just really searching for
Mm.
her person, her husband, and
Right,
and
right.
and that was basically is like as cliche as it sounds. Stop searching, because that's what it was like.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, and it's what I kept hearing all the time. Like,
yeah,
I didn't want to hear it because, okay, so just give up. Yeah. Yeah, kind
yeah,
of a little bit, because the
yeah.
moment like you really focus on yourself
Mm-hmm.
and just that self-care of loving on you and being completely good on your own, that's when the person shows up.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that that is very accurate for me as well. From when we found each other, I had reached a turning point in my life. There was a catalyst to the point where I wanted to really focus on me because my entire life I've been a person, even still now, like I like to care for my loved ones. So I was always more so in the background in every aspect of my life. I preferred being, just chilling in the back, taking care of the people that I love that are out front. So I was never really in the foreground, even in my own life. So it was a lot of, even still now, actively coming into the full version of myself that I would like to be, and I'm trying to reach to be the best version of myself for myself, for you, and our children.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to you know have that level of growth and self awareness because I didn't really know fully what my full identity was before I started to actually taking the time to have moments of introspection and self reflection where I could actually think things through from a more thorough perspective and even just sitting and having time with myself without distractions, without distracting myself, without the need to seek something outside of what I could provide for myself. So, that
Mm.
was something that was really important.
Yeah.
Before meeting you, I finally started to do that on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I had a thought, but it's tough to put into words sometimes. And I'm trying real hard. Uh,
Yeah,
it it was just mainly, give me a moment,
take your
like,
time. Take your time.
because it was me thinking about like how I feel about the answer to the question of should you already be fully healed, and I feel like majority yes, because you just said something where you mentioned growth, and obviously in
Yeah.
a relationship you are going to grow together,
Mm-hmm.
and so my thoughts were mixing with that, like yes, be fully healed, but there is still that growth that takes place within your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like a couple of times where just like through us communicating where it felt like extra healing, like being able to share with you like
Yeah.
what's happened in my past, and just being able to talk was just like I thought I was fully healed.
Yeah.
But the conversation within itself, and then the love that you returned during the communication, um, it feels healing. So it's like, was I not fully healed?
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, so I feel like as you grow, I think you continue to heal. I think
Yeah.
it's just a process.
For
Healing
sure.
within itself is a process.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it goes to like what I was saying earlier. It's the level of severity of the healing and how fresh it is for you, and to the point where is it something that you're actively living with. If you're actively living with it and have it fully healed from it, it's going to be something where it probably is a situation where you would need to be working on it
Yeah.
personally
Yeah.
by yourself before you move to bringing this situation into a relationship. So,
Yeah, and it just made me realize it also depends on your personality, because
for sure.
sometimes when people haven't healed from whatever it is that they've gone through,
Mm,
it comes out like it, really in a very negative way.
for sure.
Um,
Mm,
it can come out in different ways,
yeah.
but if it
Shows
is,
up differently for different people.
yeah, exactly. And so if it is one of those not so great negative ways, then
Yeah.
clearly that would be a time where you definitely need to do a lot more self work,
Yeah.
because somebody else is not going to be able to help you if you haven't learned how to help yourself.
Yeah, and even still, it's not even necessarily fair to place that burden of work that you need to do for yourself onto another person,
Yeah.
moving into a situation where you're expecting them to heal something within you that no one else has been able to do prior, and you haven't even been able to do for yourself,
Yeah.
which is not really a fair way to start out a relationship, and it creates a dynamic to where you're constantly needing to walk on eggshells around this other person, and it creates almost like a situation where it's skewed. It's not necessarily a mutual relationship to
Mm-hmm.
where you're both on an even playing field and you're both taking care of each other. It's always going to be, I'm looking to you to take care of me, to fix
Right.
everything that's broken within me.
Yeah, and
And
that's not okay.
that's not a healthy way to have a relationship for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So very interesting, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very insightful, definitely.
Yeah. It also made me think about because with me, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have like that negative where's the words? How did you just word it? As far as like when the way it shows up differently for
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Like for me, it wasn't negative.
yeah. It shows up
Um,
differently for different
well, I
people.
mean, well, I don't know how to put it, but
Right.
when I was saying negative, I was thinking more so like attitude wise.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just not the nicest person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that didn't change for me. But what did is just I realized I keep putting myself in situations that I'm just not making like good decisions. I'm not making good choices. And it was starting to be a pattern. Like, I'm the common denominator here.
Mm.
So, maybe I should seek help. And
Mm.
um, so I definitely tried out therapy, and I feel like I feel like it's I feel like it's something that is worth everybody experiencing. I know some people just like, oh, like what I need to see a therapist for.
Right.
That's not really how I feel. Um, I think it was a good experience, and it really helped to be able to have um, that space where you're able to talk with somebody that there's no judgment because they literally don't know you,
Right.
and um, and you can just speak freely. So I think that was good. I think my main conflict though is that
Mm.
it did make me feel like I just wanted a friend. Like I didn't like because that's what it.
Yeah.
Maybe I enjoyed
Yeah.
therapy so much that it felt like I had a friend, but then it was like I'm paying this person to listen to me, and it's like
Right.
whereas a friend, I would just have a friend that would listen to me, and I don't have to pay them.
Right.
Um. So yeah, I think I lost my train of thought again, but. What? How do you feel about therapy?
For me, I would definitely say my relationship to therapy is something that has grown throughout my life. Originally, I was like a lot of other of our people, and I didn't really have like a positive view of therapy. I didn't believe it was something that would be helpful in my earlier years when I was in my early teen years, and as a kid I just viewed it as something that you do. You go, you lay on the couch, the therapist is sitting there with their notepad judging you silently, writing all these intimate details about your life, and you're just giving them your everything. And it's like I couldn't, at the time I couldn't see the value in it.
Yeah.
But as life progressed and I started to do my own form of therapy for myself. And it was very interesting developing a form of therapy without a therapist. And that was a journey within itself, trying to find a way to heal myself and talk through my own feelings and
Mm-hmm.
emotions without actually having another person to talk to.
Right.
Because I'm a very private person, and I would always keep everything very close to the chest.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't really talk too much about my full personal feelings about things. I when asked and in conversations, I would be willing to give some insight, but a lot of things I like to keep to myself. I was never one for sharing my true thoughts and feelings because uh, even that's part of society, and having that perception as a man, especially as a black man, you're supposed to be the rock, the solid foundation, very stoic. You're supposed to be in control of your emotions and thoughts, and the only emotion that we're really allowed to express would be like just very strong passion or anger. And for me, those are emotions that I am not really comfortable with. I'm not, I really do anger for, um, in the sense of like unbridled rage and such,
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as, the general anger of like injustice or some certain aspects to where it's healthy, sure. But
Yeah.
as far as using it as a way to express your feelings in a negative way, that's never been something that I was comfortable with. I've always been very much so peaceful and loving of peace. I've always desired having peace, so I did go off on a little bit of a tangent, but back to actually focusing on the therapy aspect. Uh, for me, that was also a form of self care that I learned was very useful for me. I began to write. There was a friend of mine a couple years ago that suggested journaling, and I never did that before. I never had the idea or the thought that I would write down my feelings or any sort of questions for myself to find the answers. And through this particular journaling prompt that was given to me, I was able to really sit and think about a lot of things, like my current reality, what I wanted for myself currently and in my future. And it was good to actually take some time to look back on some things, because even before I started journaling, I was always like seeking something, a reprieve, a break, which led to a bit of escapism, trying to find a way to find peace within a situation that I was not fully at peace with. So, for that, for me, art was something that I've always loved from a child, because, I do say I am an artist, and I draw, I paint, I do graphic design, photography, I write, sometimes lyrics, poems. I like to, a very, very creative person. And I've always liked to express myself through art. And so now I feel like that's a situation that's kind of evolved, because my relationship to art has changed so drastically. Because before, I was leaning on it as a form of escapism. It was my therapy. It was cathartic for me to find something to pour myself into. I could spend hours doing it, and I could work on the small, minute details and just completely lose myself in my art, because it was what I needed to, at the time, be at peace. It was something that was very therapeutic for me. But having the dynamic shifted now, and having my place of peace within you and our children and our family is different now. I don't lean as heavily on art as I used to.
Right.
So now it's a little more difficult for me to create and to find that desire to draw that I used to have. Before it was a necessity, and now it's just something I would like to be able to do. But the actual putting pencil to paper or pen to tablet is not really. There's a disconnect there now that needs addressing. So that's another area of growth within me that has developed recently that I'm looking forward to this year re-examining and reevaluating my relationship to my art and creating on a whole. But
that's interesting because I think that's the same for me too. Like how you feel about drawing, because I did like to journal often, and well, I don't know about like to journal, but I would journal. I would journal often. There's something about writing that it like my brain doesn't want to accept like I feel like I'm good at it, but I can't accept liking it, which is just so funny. But anytime I go back and read something that I wrote, it's like, wow, it didn't even seem like I wrote it. Like I don't remember writing it, and I think that's like the fun part about journaling is being able to go back and see what was said. But my point was that I don't really see the need to even do it anymore because I think that was my therapy as well without a therapist, or like how you put that. So yeah, it's like I think it's great, like because it shows that we're in a good space and we don't need those therapeutic crutches.
Right.
But it is still healthy. It is still that like art within itself is a hobby that you could definitely strengthen and work on.
For sure.
It just has to take on a new meaning.
Yeah. And that is definitely something that I'm looking forward to doing this year.
Yeah.
But as far as therapy on a whole, I do feel now, at this point in my life, it is something that is very beneficial to anyone who needs it. And even those who feel like they wouldn't need therapy or wouldn't benefit from a therapist, I feel like it's an experience that is exceedingly helpful because not everyone has the ability to find a therapeutic crush or a form of therapy without a therapist.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it's necessary to have an actual avenue and a designated place and a person where you can have that safe space to express how you feel when there is no other place in your life that gives you that comfort, that safety. You can now have that in a therapist.
Yeah.
Because without it, it creates like an environment that's not necessarily healthy for the individual who would be seeking the therapy or the individuals that surround them in their life. Because if a person is not in a healthy space, it usually tends to spread throughout their environment.
Yeah.
It can be their environment impacting them or them impacting their environment or vice versa. And that's never healthy. So it's definitely beneficial to have a form of therapy in your life.
Yeah. It just helps you to, well, at least for me, I, of course, should be speaking for myself. So, to actually realize that's like to spill everything that I wanted to say and there not actually be like, the shock or surprise or, and just like, okay, like just the feedback alone was just like, oh, okay, so this is actually somewhat even normal. And and it just helped to have that safe perspective. And then just like because we were just watching something recently and I feel like you see it on TV all the time. It's like, oh, well, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just helps. It just helps to, I guess, uh, refocus. Like, or it takes out the heavy emotion and the negative thoughts that you're probably putting on yourself,
Yeah.
and refocusing reality. Like,
Yeah.
though
Sure.
that's, you felt this way about it, but really it's actually not as bad as you think. And
Hmm.
there's a way to overcome. Like, there's a way to, like, it doesn't have to stay like that. Like, it just helps you think more positively, I feel like.
For sure, it gives you more of a sense of hope. Things aren't as drastic as they initially seemed. It's much like a Pontilus painting, where you can't really see it if you're close up on it. Sometimes it takes stepping back from a situation to truly see the whole range of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in it and you're so up close and personal, you can't really see everything that it has to offer, the full situation. And I feel like that's definitely something that's very healthy in having a therapist. You have that freedom of expression without necessarily worrying what are the repercussions of saying how I truly feel,
Yeah.
which
Right,
or is
exactly.
constantly a worry throughout life. You know,
Right,
what is socially acceptable to say, or what could happen if I say this specific thing to this specific person in my life.
right.
It could shift the dynamic of a relationship drastically, and not even necessarily like a romantic relationship. It could be any relationship, a friendship, a coworker, a parental figure, a sibling, anybody in your life that has a chain reaction of what you say, so it matters.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what stops us from saying or expressing how we truly feel, because we're not necessarily in a place where we know how to express what we wish to express in a way that is not damaging.
Right.
So, definitely very, very interesting for sure.
Side note, I want to explain why that I laughed and that was funny to me because my husband is so smart, and I feel like
Oh,
half the
Lord.
time, like I thought I was until I married him. Like I be feeling stupid all the time because
Stop it, woman.
I don't even know what a pontilus painting is. I don't even know if that's what you said
Yes.
because I know nothing about it. And he knows so many things about like all subjects, all areas, all subjects, just random things. He
Mm.
knows so much, and I really don't even know how. So, that
And I don't
like
even
that was
know
a
for real.
flex. Okay, flex. Like, but it's the glasses, isn't it?
Oh, Lord.
No, just kidding. It's not. I know it's not because that's exactly my point. This is my everyday life. Glasses or no glasses. I'm like, what are you talking about, and how do you know this? I'm just so
Yeah.
yeah. I learn a lot, which I do enjoy, and then I usually forget. That's the other thing about him. Like he can retain so much, like so much. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to say I retain the important things, but that
No.
that does not appear to be true, because I know a lot of random things that have
Right.
just stayed with me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess I think that's a pretty good episode. What do you think, babe?
For sure. Although we still need to talk about self care,
Oh,
because with having that peace, self care is essential in taking care of yourself to be healthy within a relationship. You can't really take care of another person until you take care of yourself.
okay.
And for me, it's definitely been a ongoing journey trying to find what self care is to me.
Yeah.
So, for all of you, I will pose that question. What does self care look like for you on the daily, or even just on an occasion where you feel like, or even just what the definition is? How do you define self care?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I just feel like it's anything that makes you feel good. Like, within reason, I guess. Like as long as it's like I don't even know why I said that.
Wait a minute.
We can just take it back to
Love.
what I said.
Hold up.
Like anything that makes you feel good. Like we babe. Okay, wait, no, there's no timeout. Because I don't know anymore. Because then I was just thinking about like how I like to watch TV, but then that's like it goes both ways. It's like who wants to just sit there and watch a bunch of TV? But I enjoy TV.
Well, yeah.
So it makes me feel good.
So I feel like that's still self care because it looks different for each person.
Yeah.
Like for other people, TV will be a distraction.
Yeah.
It wouldn't necessarily be something that would be beneficial, but for you, it is a way that you relax and unwind.
Yeah.
You're able to enjoy what you're watching without having a million thoughts running through your head. It's your way to focus without focusing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's true.
It's definitely a form of self care for you.
Yeah, just doing something for yourself, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Take yourself out to eat.
No.
We're about to get our sexy back once this baby gets out of me. That's gonna be some self care for sure. Taking care of your body.
For sure. Yeah.
Looking good, feeling good.
Yeah.
And I guess the importance would also be to be consistent, because that's usually what I'm not.
Consistency is key. Yeah. I'd say I had a very good run. Just in a couple of years, you'd be surprised the shifts and changes and expansion that can occur when you're not being consistent with your physical self care.
Yeah.
So that definitely is a very important and needed self care for the year of 2025.
Yeah. Yep.
But
and on.
And on, yes. Yeah. Lifelong self care.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, for me, I don't particularly have a set definition of self care and what it looks like for me.
Yeah.
I would say it is definitely, like you said, anything that makes you feel good. I would say it's more of something that anything that brings you a sense of peace, a sense of calm that can refocus you and recenter you when you feel off balance, in a way to maintain your sanity in the rigors of life. Just doing the mundane things that becomes monotonous. You're going through all these things on a daily basis: cooking, cleaning, going to work, being social, like just talking to other people, and the pressure that goes along with that. Having those who have social anxiety, like that can be a very big thing. So you need to have self-care in place to where you don't implode upon yourself or explode on someone else.
Right, yeah.
Because all these things are consistently just building up day after day, day after day, with no form of release or reprieve or any form of relaxation that comes into play. Like you're just constantly in a state of tension. You're wound up and on edge. And that's not a healthy space to be in, because when you're in a space like that, you can be short and snappy for no reason.
Yeah.
Even on the people you love the most. So to sustain a healthy relationship, to have longevity, to help lessen those moments within the relationship, because naturally it can occur even with the best of self-care. But to help prevent that from being a norm in an unhealthy situation, it's good to have some form of self care in place. And for me, music is a big form of self care for me. I enjoy listening to music tremendously.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No matter what I'm doing or not doing, music is good for me. And,
Oh, yeah.
I like a wide range of music. So, I can listen to jazz one day, another time I'm listening to rap, country, pop, even just instrumentals. I love my Spanish guitar. I was just talking about that yesterday. I heard a little score playing on the TV, and it was a real toe tapper. I,
Nice.
I liked that.
Nice.
So it does bring me a good sense of peace. And even with like certain video game music, it's not only that, it's nostalgic. It'll trigger a memory of playing games with my brother back when we were kids,
Oh, yeah.
or even just certain music that'll play that just like mellows me out. Or if I need to focus, it'll get me focused. If I'm working out, I need my hype music. If I'm cooking, I need my hype music. If I'm about to fry some chicken, you guaranteed to hear some good music playing.
Yeah.
Like the baby. I love his music when I'm frying some chicken. I got a couple of tracks of his that I absolutely love to play.
Yep.
So, that is a big form of self care. And I guess another way I'm trying to define what self care looks like for me is because I do my biggest form of peace and enjoyment in life and fulfillment is you and the kids. So spending time with you and the kids is what brings me the most joy. So that's like it helps recharge me, but also it's like it feels like I don't know if it should even be allowed to be under the branch of self care because it's not necessarily self. So
Right.
take you and the kids out of the equation. Like I'm just sitting there, like what now? Now what do I do? Because recently, I was sick for a little bit, and there were a couple of occasions where we had events that we were going to, and we would normally all go to together. And I was in a place where I didn't feel comfortable taking whatever germs that I had around anybody else. So I stayed at home while you and the kids went to the event.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well,
What do I do now?
what happens now?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people jump at that chance, like, oh man, the wife and kids are going. It's a party now. Like,
Yeah.
what we about to get into?
Right.
But for me, I'm sitting here like, okay, um, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And I'm still in a space where I don't necessarily know, which isn't the healthiest of spaces to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's nice, it's fulfilling, but like I said, in situations where all of you are removed, where am I? Where does that leave me? What brings me peace and joy that I can have to sustain myself, to be full and complete? And
Yeah.
it's not something that I am currently aware of. So what was helpful is it happened during the holiday season. So I was able to wrap gifts.
Mm.
So that was nice. I reorganized all the presents and wrapped a few more gifts and got everything nice and neat. So that was something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
That wrapping gifts is apparently a form of self care for me.
That you see, and that is so funny because I don't even know what you said a while back. Like I laughed because I laughed again because I had a funny thought of how like it really it is different depending on the person.
Yeah.
Like it's whatever makes you feel good. Because
Yeah.
would wrapping gifts make me feel good? Absolutely not. Like no. And like when I laughed the first time, you said something. I think like I think what you said was do something that brings you peace. And I was thinking like like take a walk, and then it was like I won't.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it actually made me think of we have a family member that likes to hike, and
Oh boy.
that would be like absolute
Yeah.
self care for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to do that ever again in life. I don't need to do that ever again.
It was an experience
Oh my gosh,
for
about
sure.
died.
I will
Yeah,
never
so
forget as long as I live.
yeah, so whatever truly brings you peace.
Yeah.
That's your self care.
For sure. So
Yeah.
I would I would close that out by saying, do what brings you peace and do your best to be peace. Be peace for yourself, be peace for your environment, regardless of whatever environment you're in. Even if it's not a situation where you feel like brings you peace, you be the peace. You can choose what you put out into the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can help shift your environment.
It's very true.
Be the change you want to see. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And in the mirror started playing. In my head,
man.
obviously.
Yeah. Gotta love the jukebox brain.
I know. We gotta do something with that.
Yeah, man.
All right, y'all. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you'll be back for more. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, please go back, check them out.
Absolutely.
Subscribe, please. We need subscribers. We appreciate you, and we want to hear all your thoughts. So please engage in the comments, and we will be there to engage back.
Absolutely. And as always, I'm wishing you much peace and prosperity today and every day.
Peace.